Hey everybody, it's Matt here from Ok Aussie. It's currently 2 a.m. in the morning, and I just thought I'd give you a bit of an update on how the night's going so far. Dyan's okay, she's in bed sleeping. She has had quite significant long duration seizures and dystonic seizure episodes tonight. That was around about 11 p.m. The fire alarm of the building for the second night in a row has now gone off at 1 a.m. this morning. So I've had to race around outside to work out what the hell's going on, to get to the fire panel, determine the source, and get up to the level 2 where the source of the fire was indicating. Knocked on the door several times to this apartment. Finally they answered. Finally they came to the door and only half opened the door. They apologised. They had lit an incense stick. Shame it was smelling of smoke and weed, but I'm sure the incense stick was the cause of the fire, not. But anyway, let's use that as the excuse for tonight from this unit. So stupid, so frustrating, and so unnecessary. Smoking in their unit obviously is going to set the fire alarms off and obviously disrupt the whole unit. So anyway, I went back down to the fire panel to reset that, as is the protocol for managing these situations. And in resetting, I've noticed that there's 2 units that are disabled. So previously, on the night before, there was 1 unit in fault. Guess which unit that was? That's the unit that belongs to the trolls. The trolls underneath us. They had attacked their smoke alarm to try and deactivate it so that it wouldn't go off because they were smoking, again, weed inside of their apartment. You can't believe this shit, can you? So anyway, yesterday the fire panel was in a status where it obviously is at a fault. The technician was called out during the course of the day today, and I met him, and he had tried to gain entrance to the particular unit where the fault was. Our little trolls underneath. The rental company had phoned them, no answer, had emailed them, no answer. So the technician came out on site hoping just to be able to knock on the door to gain access, because if it's in fault, it's obviously not going to then work and function in case there is a actual fire. He couldn't gain entrance. He came back to me and said, "Geez, that place just stank of weed, mate." That's just from the front foyer of their particular place. It's like, okay, good. At least you've made an attempt to try and get in. Sorry you weren't able to do it. What a waste of a call-out fee and your effort in coming on site. Totally unfair. But anyway, in tonight's instance, the fire panel's changed to now showing that it's disabled for that unit, which means, of course, there will be no fire alarm coming and originating from that unit if they're smoking and they do actually cause, and they're such risky people. So I've had to communicate with the property managers to say, look, you have to organise the police to come out tomorrow, gain access, make sure the technician can do his job, because otherwise the rest of the building's obviously clearly at risk. So that's part of it. But the person who's actually assigned on site, you have an overnight on-site support worker who's actually assigned to looking after the system. That's part of their job. They're meant to attend if there's an emergency, if there's a fire, go and investigate it, check that the source person is okay, call the fire brigade, hey, there's a real fire, come out here and rescue people, because it's a building of disability. It's a specialist disability accommodation. There's 20 units here. Most of them are people who might be paralysed, quadriplegics, whatever else. Most of them are wheelchair orientated. Well, she hadn't turned up during this whole fire, and it was like pretty hard to miss the fact that there's a huge blaring klaxon alarm going. I mean, it wakes everybody else up in the entire neighbourhood. I'm thinking, where is she? Why would she come to check on the fire and to reset the panel, to investigate what's going on, to make sure everybody's okay? So I went off and investigated to find out where she is. I thought maybe she's injured, maybe there's a problem, maybe she's stuck with a patient. Well, I started by contacting, there's no no response to any communication by phone. So I knocked on the door of the on-site support worker, knocked on a couple of times, and finally got an answer. It's like, okay, that's strange. Maybe she was on the phone talking to someone. No, she'd been asleep. Great job on-site overnight support. So the nurse support staff had been asleep. She had brought with her, because there's no bed in this particular unit, she'd brought with her her own little sleeping mattress to be able to rest and sleep. And when she finally came to the door, drowsy, she'd said, oh, I thought the alarm was coming from another building in the distance. In your sleep state, obviously you're hearing something, but you must be so tired, so whacked out that it's not quite registering, it's not quite clicking. But anyway, she obviously had heard the alarm, but thinking it's somewhere else, and wasn't enough to rouse her. But obviously my knocking on the door directly roused her. So anyway, I explained the situation, that the unit that was involved, but they said it was an incense stick, but I've been smoking the good stuff, and it caused the alarm to go off, and that the panel was now broken and disabled, and that the technician's going to obviously try and come out. But sent her back to bed. Anyway, I've come back to my unit, because obviously it's now calmed down. Saw a couple of residents on the way back and made sure they're happy and safe, because it's distressing. It's like if there's an alarm going off, you think there's obviously a major event or an issue, and you don't want people to become complacent in alarms and events. So it's good that some people at least, had come out. Most people were obviously asleep. Most people were still in bed. Most people realised that someone who was meant to be doing it, the overnight on-site support, or an agency or whatever else, would deal with it. None of those people did. None of those people responded, reacted, or came to it. I've sorted it out. Okay, so it's done. But I'm a bit pissed off. Just to be honest, it's like, you have these systems that are meant to be in place. You have these systems that are set up to actually do this. First and foremost, you're reassured and told that these things are going to happen, but they don't happen. So that's frustrating. So anyway, I've come back to my apartment. I've checked on Di. She is actually still asleep. She's been heavily medicated, sedated, because of the seizures, to actually do the muscle relaxants and calm the seizure storm down, because otherwise that was going to go into state of epilepsy. So I'm glad that she's still sleeping through it. She'll wake up in the morning probably a bit sore and in pain from, obviously, dystonia. Dystonia is a very painful, it's muscle contractions. It's not just the energy of like a tonic-clonic seizure, but dystonia seizures, I think they cause more tears, muscle tears. They do a bit more damage. There's more load on the system, from what I'm seeing with her particularly. So she's going to be a bit tired and a bit sore in the morning. And she's probably going to be quite surprised that she slept through yet another major sort of alarm and event. And it also shows the risk of what happens to participants who are having to be medicated, or who are going through other medical conditions, and how they can't respond, or they're not functional to be able to respond in an emergency, to be able to escape by their own volition. They can't respond accordingly to protect themselves if they need to. So it does show that there's many of those sort of patients that do need to have support, so they're obviously available, or if they're reliant on things like the overnight on-site support. Don't go there, because that person's fast asleep, or not able to do the job, or having to focus on other things as a priority. So anyway, a bit of a shit show. So that's my little update. I was trying to get back to sleep, because I had to write a report. Had to obviously communicate to the strata and the rental teams and the NDOS SDA providers to say, well, look, this is what's occurred, incident report, what was found, who caused it, what actions were taken. And of course, what needs to now be done is the technician does need to come out inside and obviously resolve the panel and fix the fault in that unit and gain access. And the police are now going to be involved, because the people are resistant to doing that and behaving badly and are a risk. Because they're a risk, they're right underneath us. So if they do cause a fire and their building is disabled, that fire and that smoke will come up into our apartment, and it's only then that the fire alarms would be triggered in the building. And that's actually a little bit too late and too slow. So it's obviously an occupational health and safety risk. I'm so pissed off. I'm so angry at the behaviours of others that affect us. I mean, even just for tonight, the behaviours of others who are just, they've come home from their pub crawl on a Friday night, which they do regularly, and they've obviously come home in party mode, pretty much blotto drunk, and obviously just haphazardly smoking and smoking weed or whatever else in their apartment and setting the alarm off tonight. So inconsiderate. It's all very well for them that they're up and partying, but the rest of us are exhausted and I'm shattered. Okay, and now having to do the report, check all these things out, update, and I'm trying to get back to sleep. I'm just, you know what's like? It's the adrenaline. It's just, it surges through your body. It's the exhaustion of having to physically run because you can't use the lift in case of a fire because the system may get cut out or you get stuck in the lift. That's another drama. So you got to use the stairs. You're running around. You got to check on the sources. It's a lot of energy. So my adrenaline is slowly coming down and get back into sleep mode. And I'll get some sleep for a few hours until the morning starts and I'm back up and running again. 2 days in a row. This is the sort of things that we are dealing with. This is the sort of things that go on our life. So, you know, our life is not all that easy, smooth sailing. And, you know, between the medical emergencies, administration, daily living, which has enough of a toll, but then you're dealing with, you know, system-wide issues, smoke alarms, fire events, emergency services. Fingers crossed the weekend's going to be better. Let's hope for it. Anyway, I'm tired, as you can see from my eyes. I'm looking at my eyes in the viewfinder at the moment, and I'm looking tired and stuff. So I'm going to get some sleep. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Fingers are crossed that we're going to have a good weekend. If you have comments, questions, ideas, or suggestions, leave them below. Give us a thumbs up of encouragement because it is care of burnout, real thing. I'm a little bit tired over this rubbish, so I'm hoping that weekend's going to be good. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you hopefully sometime in the weekend. Bye for now.